And welcome to Flightdeck Live, powered by SportBuff. If you go to sportbuffshop.com and use the code Alice Flightdeck 10 at checkout, you'll save 10% off your entire order. I'm Tim Capper, along with Cliffy Define from Personal Molson Stadium, where the Alouettes escape with a 37-35 win over the Ottawa RedBlacks, sending their overall streak to Ottawa to 12 straight. Nice dozen, but it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, and it was not perfect, especially if you were looking at the first half, Cliff. I'm sure, as we're going to talk about, first half has seemed perfect. It was far from that in the second half.
That's putting it very, very mildly, because quite frankly, this truly was a tale of two halves for the Montreal Alouettes. First half, everything looked great. They were firing on all cylinders. Everything looked good. They managed to keep Ottawa to 2 Brett Lothar field goals in the first half. 5 first downs, less than 80 yards of total offense. At least roughly 8.8 yards per play, something like that. Like, I mean, versus Ottawa's 2.3 or 3.2 or something like that.
Yep.
Then the second half came, and we always talk about second half adjustments. It doesn't mean get worse in the second half, because quite frankly, that was putrid. I mean, that was just an absolute disgusting affair. I'm sorry to say, this defense really dropped the ball numerous times, and basically gave Ottawa all the hope in the world, gave them a fighting chance to come back and almost win their first game of the season. It was just, I got no words. I mean, I'll have words for this coming Wednesday for the show, but I mean, like,
sure
as it stands right now, I don't even know if disappointed is the word I want to use right now.
I would say, to be fair, I'd say concerned, because the Alouettes
definitely concerned.
Are just, again, this is Philip Myling. They have third quarter woes through the first 4 games of this year, where they've been outscored by 20 points in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And again, for the second straight week in a row, Cliff, they blew a 13-point lead, and again, were outscored 13-0 in that third quarter, which, as you just said, allowed Ottawa to come back into this game.
100%. I mean, they came this close, and both teams fought to the end. I mean, we're talking about trading touchdowns, field goals. I mean, trading scores back and forth. Both teams were doing everything they can to win this game. I mean, listen, we always talk about how we want good, exciting football, and I think for a lot of people would probably consider it that, but I look at the execution for Montreal here, especially on defense, and this is a failing grade. I mean, yes, a win's a win. That's one thing you got to take a look at.
Right.
I mean, 3-1 is still impressive. It definitely means first place.
Yeah, 3-1 into the bye.
Into the bye, absolutely. But man, they've got their work cut out from in this bye week. I hope whatever is going on defensively, they got to get it figured out. I mean, offense, there's obviously very little problems there. I mean, Davis Alexander is doing a tremendous job finding his receivers, handing off the ball to Stevie Scott and Travis Tice, making things happen. But defensively, these guys are getting caught with their pants down over and over and over. And at some point, you just have to you look inside and you say, what the hell? What's the problem? What is going on defensively with Montreal Alouettes? Because this ain't it, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, the one positive, I guess we could say, is that the tackling issues seem to be okay. I'll use the term that I used from last week's show. Better. It was better.
Less worse.
Okay, we can use that one too.
I mean,
there were so many different variables in this game itself. I mean, from the first half in itself, the Alouettes allowing 305 yards on kick returns, including a kick return for a touchdown here late in the fourth quarter.
I joked. Devontae Dedmon used to do that for the RedBlacks all the time against Montreal, and I thought when the Alouettes signed him in free agency, I thought, okay, great, he can't hurt us anymore because he's playing for the Alouettes. Except Devontae Dedmon didn't play in this game. No. Khalil Pimpleton, however, unfortunately, was playing for the Ottawa RedBlacks, and he was the one that basically had the house call that, once again, meant that this game, no lead is safe, and all that, all that jazz that everybody keeps talking about. It's just, wow. I mean, defensively, not great. Special teams.
No, the special teams, I think, they would get easily a failing grade. I just don't understand what happened at halftime between the team dominating offensively and defensively, and then coming out in the second half, laying an egg in the third quarter. And it's funny, the Alouettes are one of the highest scoring teams in the fourth quarter in the league right now. But it shows why. It shows why, because they blow lead. They've been blowing leads.
And let's not forget, Ottawa just had themselves a major upheaval when it came to their personnel, the quarterback room of all things.
Yeah.
Jake Mayer supposedly was going to be, QB1 and that first half, he did not look like a QB1 at all. And a lot of people were like, oh, I hope McLeod Bethel-Thompson can't get to Ottawa fast enough. But the second half, man, he got this defense figured out and really, truly made a game of it. I mean, he definitely looked like he belongs. I mean, Ottawa did everything they could to win this game and just ran out of racetrack.
Yeah, MBT wouldn't have shown up, by the way. If people didn't know, he was placed on the team suspended list because of a family issue, currently still in California, so he wasn't here.
Right.
Again, it's you look at the first half versus second half. You know, if you can take away a third quarter, okay. But the problem is, again, like last week, blowing the lead and the stats. You know, Davis Alexander had close to 200 yards alone passing in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you see his final numbers. He had a great fourth quarter. He had a horrible third. The entire team did. I don't know what the time of possession was, but the Alouettes were leading. I think it was by, I think it was 11 minutes at halftime in total time of possession.
Yep.
Ottawa dominated that third quarter.
They did.
More so than Edmonton did last week.
And it's funny, I think they scored on their opening drive even.
Opening two.
There you go. So, I mean, like, just doing everything they can to set the tone. And we keep talking about how you need to set the tone early and often. Apparently, that applies to all four quarters that you have to set the tone because Ottawa, again, did everything they could to win this game. They got it figured out. I mean, it just, like, Montreal looked like they wanted to go in the bye week right now, like an hour ago.
Yeah. I think Montreal came alive when they needed to in the fourth quarter.
But so did Ottawa. That's the problem.
Yeah, so I think Ottawa was. Yeah, they were going head to head. It was basically a tete-a-tete the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah.
After they came out, and so many things within the game itself. The Alouettes only won by 2. I think it's the second time in 3 games that we've had a missed extra point by Jose Maltos Diaz, which, by the way, his team record 25 straight attempts, consecutive field goals made was broken. And I think it was the same time too, when he was going. I think he had 21 straight, and he was going for the record too. Yeah. A field goal attempt off the upright.
Doinked it. I don't know how you say doink in Spanish, but that's unfortunately what happened with Jose. And but again, to his credit, he managed to get back on track. So
DM us, please. I want to know what doink is.
El doink? I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. And there was just everything in itself today, dude. Because again, we'll go over DA's stats. Great stats. Obviously, there was something near the end of the game where we don't know what it is. Some sort of injury. It may have been because of a late hit by an Ottawa defender in the first half, which was called. But again, there are other things too. This was not a game where the Alouettes did very well when it came to staying away from major penalties, because there were at least 3 on the team, despite Ottawa finally getting into the groove and getting a bench penalty. It's now 3. 3 for the Alouettes, 1 for everybody else. But yeah, they couldn't stay away. Yes, I think one of the roughing the passer calls was a little ticky tack, considering that. Considering.
Listen, there was a lot of things that went wrong for both teams. Let's not sugarcoat this. I mean, this was a game that both teams absolutely had to win. I think Montreal needed to reestablish themselves after losing that heartbreaker in Edmonton.
Yeah.
They wanted to get, and again, a lot of people, all the experts, everybody said Montreal should win this in a cakewalk because Ottawa right now is kind of circling the drain a little bit. But I'll tell you what, they did not look like a team that was circling the drain in the second half. And again, day 2 are still winless. I think now 0-4 of the season, along with 0-3, along with the BC Lions.
Yeah.
Now both those teams are still looking for their first win of the season. And once again, I keep saying it, you can't win the Grey Cup in June, but if you don't get your act together, you can certainly lose it in June.
That's true. Davis Alexander tonight, Cliff, went 22 of 30 for 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Speaking of no interceptions, I know if anybody was mentioned in local media. If not, I'm doing it now. Coming into this week, DA had a streak of consecutive passes without an interception. It was 3rd overall in league history. He did surpass second place, so he is now in second place all time for consecutive pass attempts without an interception.
Listen, he was on one today. I mean, despite the potential injury, I mean, again, if you were to ask him, I'm sure he's going to say he's fine. It's all good. They're going into the bye week, so he'll rest up, kind of thing. But at the same time, it's still concerning when you see your QB1 hobbling in some way, shape, or form. It's just not. And again, there's a lot of times too where he was doing short yardage. And why? You had Dustin Crum, who had 2 touchdowns doing short yardage.
I was wondering about that too.
And again, I get that Davis is a gamer. I get he wants to put the team on his back and lead him to victory. I get all that, but there is absolutely no reason why DA should be doing QB sneaks. There's just absolutely no possible reason. Are you telling me you don't have a fullback that can go and do this if you don't want Crum getting hurt? I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to put your quarterback in danger like that, especially Davis Alexander and everything he's gone through over the past season.
Yeah, and the funny thing, I mean, we know how much of a gamer DA is, and you and I will not dispute that in any way, shape, or form. He is a baller. No. And considering you saw one of the passes that he had in the fourth quarter, hobbling along, he chucked a 50-yard pass to Tyler Snead, which was able to set up another. I think it set up a go ahead, another touchdown that were able to push the Alouettes ahead. By 9. So we know he's a gamer. We know DA is a gamer. It's just a matter of, and I understand going into a bye week, we're not going to find out really what happened with DA until the following week, which I don't like, but I understand it. I understand that's the thing, and we'll have to see what information comes out of the post-game press conference today, and what was said on television. But the success of the Alouettes will go as well as how far Davis Alexander goes. And that was proven last year. I mean, we're talking about a quarterback now. And by the way, I'm not trying to bury the lead with some of these other guys who are supporting Davis, like the wide receivers. We're going to get to Philpott here in a second.
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about Tyson Philpott.
Davis Alexander, coming into this week, was the first Alouettes quarterback to throw for 1,133 yards in franchise history. He's now, through 4 games, Cliff, just shy of 1,500 yards.
That's 4 games being played. There is 14 more to go. I mean, when we talked about video game numbers for Davis Alexander and what he could possibly do, the mind boggles. It is just, he's almost not human. Like, that's just the kind of numbers that he's been putting up. And again, especially with the receivers that he's got working with him, they too also putting up crazy numbers. It is, like, offensively, I think this team is truly firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they can do no wrong because, again, they have incompletions, they have miscues, they have
yet to have a perfect game.
Exactly.
Yet to have a perfect game. If you're going to give away 2 straight games with 13 points and be outscored by 20 in the third quarter, 4 games in, there's an issue. No. Now, talking about this, like I said, we got to talk about his supporting cast tonight, DA's supporting cast. Tyson Philpott was on another one tonight. 12 receptions on 13 targets for 198 yards.
I mean, he's over 500 yards for the season. And we're, again, 4 games into this season, ladies and gentlemen, and he's already put up, like, again, people always talk about, 1,000-yard receiver, like how great it is to have that. He's halfway there. Again, if he keeps this up, probably looking at 2,000 yards for the season. If he keeps up this pace,
he may set some Canadian records. It's fair, league and Canadian records. It's true.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Just still making like incredible catches. Tyler Snead, once again, same thing. Just being absolutely clutch when needed. I mean, Tyler Snead is just like, it feels like a competition between those two, doesn't it? Like, anything you can do, I can do better kind of thing.
It seemed to be that way actually in the fourth quarter. It really did seem to be because those two were an integral part of the Alouettes winning this game in the fourth quarter tonight.
Alexander Hollins too.
Yep.
With that touchdown to get the party started for the Montreal Alouettes.
These are the stats I love, by the way. 4 targets to Hollins, 1 reception, 53 yards, 1 touchdown.
Pay dirt. Unbelievable. I mean, again, this is a prime example of, okay, you want to cover Tyson Philpott? Makes sense. You want to give him double coverage. Tyler Snead, all of a sudden you got to start thinking about him. But guess what? There's still other options out there. And Alexander Hollins is absolutely 100% a very viable option for this offense.
Yep. Speaking of Snead, 6 receptions on 7 targets, Cliff, for 79 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, that touchdown in the fourth.
Yeah, just a great connection too. Especially Davis got flushed out of the pocket. It almost looked like he was going to give up on the play, and then just a little flick of the wrist, and whoop, there is Tyler Snead in the end zone, Johnny on the spot.
And by the way, speaking of this, we're talking about how horrible Jake Maier was in the first half. You talk about the flipping of the ball. That was happening more than a lot in the second half for the Ottawa RedBlacks, because Owls were dominating this game. But again, yes, a game is 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Or I think, as Coach Moss would say, I think it's 57 plus 3.
Well, that was actually Tressman who
was it? Okay.
Originally started that, but I'm sure Jason Moss has also adopted that philosophy of play till there's zeros on the clock.
Yes.
Which, again, absolutely, without question, you have to be doing that. And give the credit. I'll give credit where it's due. This Montreal Alouettes team did not give up. They did not they didn't get it in their own heads. And I think that was key, especially after that third quarter was just absolute garbage. They got it figured out, and give them credit. Ottawa hung around. They did everything they could. They were very pesky as far as they could feel that win. They especially after that house call by Pimpleton. I think they really thought, we got this. We got this. And then just, try for the onside kick to try to retain possession of the ball. And thankfully, Tyson Philpott managed to catch that. And that's all she wrote.
Pretty fitting that Tyson was able to get that. By the way, Ottawa was doing this tonight too without Gino Lewis.
That's right.
So they stood out. And okay, now, yes, there are a few positives, on defense themselves. Wes Sutton was able to get an interception that helped stop an Ottawa drive in the end zone.
Yep. Isaac Adeyemi Berglund and Mustafa Johnson with some pretty money sacks.
Yeah, don't forget our newest addition, Wise. He had a sack too.
He sure
what
did.
A sack that got him in. That it's like, if anybody saw it I don't know how it came across on TV, but it's almost as if the way that Maier went down, it's as if he slid across the turf, went up and wrapped himself around. Like how I'm going to give it like a
boa constrictor almost.
Boa constrictor, yes. I was thinking Indiana Jones. Something with Indiana Jones, but
okay, I see where you're going with this.
Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes? But yeah, again, the Owls had 3 sacks. I think it's the most in a single game they've had this year. Everybody was stepping up again.
Yeah.
First half, positive. Second half, no, not so much. And it really makes me wonder what's going to be done to help improve this completely. I mean, yes, like I said earlier, we like to have the close games.
Yeah.
But you need to have a full or potentially full 60 minutes to show that you can hang in, because if you have this run of third quarters where you're just the offense and defense is just absolute garbage, there's going to be an issue sooner or later.
Yeah, and you cannot get into the mindset of taking a team like Ottawa, for granted, because
despite winning 12 in a row over them. Yeah, I agree with you.
No, and again, despite all the turmoil that's going on right now in Ottawa, I mean, maybe they get it figured out. Who knows? But I mean, again, this was a very winnable game for Ottawa, and again, I can't overstate how the experts all picked Montreal to win, which at times feels like the kiss of death. But and listen, at the end of the day, a win's a win, and yes, definitely Alouettes Nation should be happy about that. Great turnout despite the Saint Jean Baptiste long weekends for a lot of people.
Jazz
Fest too. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the city. But
Team Canada game today.
Despite all of that, there was still a very good turnout here at Percival Molson Stadium. So props to Alouettes Nation for showing up and showing out as we expect them to.
Yep, just less than 17,500, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Something like that. By the way, how was the return with Stevie Scott, Cliff? I mean, 10 attempts, 65 yards, along with 31. It's before he left with what seemed to be an injury of some sort in the fourth quarter. It was nice to have a dual threat between Scott and Tice tonight.
Tice also found the end zone as well.
That's true. Yep, that is correct.
Once again, this is complimentary football for Davis Alexander. Yes, he's got a ton of receivers he can throw the ball to and just sling it to them. But being able to hand off the rock to guys like Stevie Scott and Travis Tice are what's going to keep this Alouettes team competitive offensively. And to have that 1-2 punch, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And Stevie Scott had some great runs, like really, really good stuff. Of course, Travis Tice rumbles into the end zone for a tutty. You can't be mad at that at all. I mean,
No, considering it put the Owls back up by more than a touchdown.
that's just it. They just they find ways. And we talked about it last week and even in previous episodes. This team is resilient. They find ways to win. And I always say winners find a way to win.
Yeah.
But does it have to be so taxing? Does it have to be so like heart stopping? Like, I'm all for exciting football. Don't get me wrong, but this is a game that could have had quite easily, especially if you're going based off the first half. Like, don't let these teams stick around, because sooner or later this is going to bite you on the behind.
We've had many versions of the Cardiac Kids for the Alouettes over the years, so we haven't gotten to that point yet. I think if they can just figure out that third quarter, Cliff, I think and play a close to a perfect game as possible. Then get some of these guys, get some of these guys back. I mean, speaking of Ty Bevitt was back tonight. He was unfortunately called on, I think it was on 2 of those 15-yard penalties tonight. One was a roughing and another one was, I think, another roughing. I would say it was, so still, I mean,
he still made his presence felt, though. I mean, that's the thing. We keep talking about how important it is for Ty Bevitt, especially with KB Nento and Lorenzo Burns out of the lineup potentially for quite some time.
Yeah.
For the Alouettes to get Bev back, definitely a well-needed boost.
Yeah. Tonight, Cliff, for a grand total, the Alouettes had 460 total yards of offense on 57 plays for an average gain of 7.9, which is not bad at all. And yards per attempt for DA tonight, 11.5 yards.
He's slanging it, and that's what you want to see out of QB1, QB Fun. You just want to see him grip it and rip it, and that's exactly what he does. Except when he's handing off to Stevie Scott or Travis Sykes.
Talking about when we saw the score tonight, talking about the second down conversions, which I'm still saying is a very important stat. The Alouettes clipped for 12 of 20 tonight for 60%. They held Ottawa at 8 of 18 for 44%, which I think is pretty. I think if the Alouettes can keep them anywhere between 35 and 40%, 35 and 45% on second downs, you should get a W. You should get a W, and they did tonight.
Yeah. What I cannot abide by, though, is the soft zone coverage of the defense.
Yeah.
I think there's just too many big opportunities. Like, just how many times did we see like second and long, and they were able to convert because they were just being lackadaisical? And that's one or two plays like that. Okay, you can live with that, but it felt like, especially in the third quarter, it seemed like every drive there was a play like that where there was just a back-breaking play by Ottawa to help move the chains and eventually score touchdowns. I mean, it's just...
Ottawa, I think, was set up to punt in the third quarter, if I remember correctly. It was the third down, and Ottawa challenged, and that's where one of the penalties were called. One of the major penalties were called. So,
for roughing the passer. Yeah. And again,
and it led to points. If I remember correctly, it led to points.
Yep. So I mean, like, these are the things that you simply cannot do if you're a team that plays high caliber football, like we know the Montreal Alouettes are capable of. It's miscues like that are just going to sooner or later come back to haunt you, and damn near did tonight.
That's true. Now, we talked about this earlier, and I'm just curious to know your thoughts, Cliff. Tonight, Ottawa, 7 kickoff returns for 307 yards. Obviously, most of them came in that. A good chunk came on in the fourth quarter on that return touchdown, late in the fourth. It's
not great.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
That's just it. And Mario Alford, by the same token, he did not have. I mean, he had a couple of okay runs, but nothing to really write home about. I mean, again, if he wasn't an established veteran, I'd be asking a lot of questions, and maybe we should be asking a lot of questions about that because, again, I like what Mario Alford's capable of doing. I know it's just going to be a matter of time before he breaks one open, but you'd think of all the teams that you could maybe get your first house call on, Ottawa would probably be a very good candidate. However, it was the other way around. Khalil Pimpleton took one home and, again, put the fear of God in this Alouettes team. They got to figure it out. I will give them that, and a win's a win. I keep saying that, but it just, why make it more complicated than what it absolutely has to be? Especially, too, when you think about after this bye week, Montreal has a home and home against Calgary Stampeders, who they won their first game yesterday in Kelowna, and VA has looked really good.
Yeah.
And he seems to get a little fired up playing his former teams. I mean, he got fired up playing against the BC Lions. You know he's going to get fired up playing against Montreal Alouettes as well.
That's true. Owls are on a bye week, and also if you happen to miss any part of this broadcast, make sure you check it out, the full thing over on X, Facebook, or on YouTube. We will have a show this week, despite it falling on Canada Day, but stay tuned to all of our socials for any other information. There is no game this coming week, but reminder on next Sunday, there is the Season Ticket Members Day being held over at Stade Bear. Any last thoughts here, Cliff? I mean, as I said, it's nice to get back in the win column, but there's still a lot of work that the Alouettes has to do.
And that's just it. 4 games into the season right now, 3-1. Again, that's good enough for tops in the Eastern Division.
Yeah.
Still among the record-wise, among the elite teams in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
It would just be nice to not feel like your butthole clenching, because this team is so close to losing a game, but they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. And yes, there was a time where it would have been the other way around. They would have found ways to lose, but you look at some of the competition that's out there. I mean, this team could easily be 4-0.
Yeah.
They could easily be 2-2.
Yeah.
They could easily be 1-3 based on what we saw tonight. I mean, it's really something. Like, as far as parity goes in the Canadian Football League, as far as there's no bad teams. I mean, I know right now everybody likes to pile on the RedBlacks because of their quarterback room right now. That situation was a little weird, to say the least, but look what they did tonight. They just about won this game. And Montreal cannot afford to take time off. They cannot afford to take plays off like they have been. Right. It's just, that's not who they are. They're not in that position that they could do that. Despite being one of the better teams, one of the haves versus the have-nots in the Canadian Football League, they cannot afford to turn in a performance like this day after day after day and expect to be among the very best in this league.
But sometimes bye weeks help. We'll see what it is. I'll have to check and see what the Owls' record is coming off of a bye week. But again, as Cliff said earlier, it is going to be a back-to-back, home and home, versus the Calgary Stampeders. But that's for next week.
Yes.
Week after. That's for week after. That's for week after.
Alouettes are on a bye, but we're not on a bye. So make sure this coming Wednesday, you stay tuned. We will have a new show out for you guys. Make sure you check it out. Download, subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, smash that like button for us. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you're following along, because anytime we go live or anytime we drop something new for you all to enjoy, you'll get notified of it right away. So make sure you do that now if you haven't done it already.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, it will be available on archive, and it also will be available on audio version also in the very, very near future. So for the final time here at Percival Molson Stadium, where the Alouettes beat the Ottawa RedBlacks for the 12th straight time, 37-35. For Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We'll talk to you soon.